Good morning, all. Thank you very much for being here today for our press conference. And for once, we actually have press, which is a refreshing change. The purpose of today's press conference is to discuss the financial difficulties facing small businesses today, to educate the public on some very, very important issues, as you see here, truth in politics, and to seek the truth. Nationally, regulations imposed by the current Obama administration have put small business owners in a very difficult position. And they're afraid to expand or hire additional employees because of uncertainty as to what the future holds. Here in our 17th Congressional District, we have a Congresswoman, Nita Lowey, who has supported all of the Obama policies and regulations that have led to the situation that small business owners face today. However, to hear her tell it in campaign mailers, in press releases and press conferences, she is a best friend to small business. Well, let's examine her record of this so-called best friend and her propensity to avoid the facts and see if her claims are true. On May 24th of 2012, not too long ago, Ms. Lowey conducted a press conference. This is a copy of her press release. In recognition of Small Business Week at the Captain Lawrence Brewery, a microbrewery located not too far from here in Elmsford. And at that event, Ms. Lowey stated the following: when small businesses are able to hire and expand, our entire economy and community benefits. Further, she states that is why incentivizing the hiring of new employees and providing full expensing of equipment are two of the smartest investments we can make right now. Further, Congress should act on these common sense proposals. And I don't think anyone would really argue with any of those statements. They're good. Later in that press conference, Ms. Lowey goes on to state that it is critical that the Congress takes immediate action to support the efforts of small business. Now, I'm just a little bit confused on this point. And her comments, because she's calling on Congress to act on behalf of these small businesses. But isn't she part of the Congress? I thought she was. I think she's been there quite a while. Okay? And she, like any other representative, has the ability to introduce legislation to accomplish all that she mentioned in her press conference. If she is so supportive of these small businesses, as she says, why hasn't she done anything? Well, and why should she stand in front of this group of small business owners and tell them what needs to be done, but yet take no action on their behalf to accomplish it? Well, the answer is quite simple. If you look at Congresswoman Lowey's record on small businesses in the Congress. And for the record, all the information that will be presented from here on in has been obtained from congressional records, official documents. Remember, Ms. Lowey's press conference that we cited here took place on May 24th, 2012. Let's look back a month earlier to what took place in Congress and what legislation came before the House. Well, on April 19th, House Resolution number 9 came before the House for a vote. The title of that bill was the Small Business Tax Cut Act, meant to help the very businesses or business owners that Ms. Lowey would speak to on May 24th. Now, as a best friend, as she claims to be, to small business, you would naturally assume that Ms. Lowey supported this legislation, correct? Well, you would be wrong, because she voted no on roll call vote number 177, a matter of public record, okay? Well, I guess, maybe this is not such a big thing. It's just one vote, right? One vote. A lot of bills go through Congress. It's only one time, no big deal. But let's look a little further. On April 25th, 2012, a few days later, House Resolution 3336 came before the Congress for a vote. Again, meant to help small businesses and the very owners she was going to speak to a month later. What was her vote on this legislation? I mean, she's so concerned about small business, as she says in her mailers, etc. Well, it seems that this time she didn't vote. She didn't vote at all. So again, she had the opportunity to support, and she didn't. But then again, I guess that's what a best political friend does to those small business owners. They avoid votes that would help those people do better. It gets better. Remember that May 24th press conference was held at Captain Lawrence Brewery, a microbrewery. And I wonder if those who attended that press conference, or better yet, the owner himself of that brewery, knew about this next piece of legislation that came before the House. On March 23rd, 2011, a year or so before the press conference, HR House Resolution 1236 came before the House for a vote. The title of that bill was the Small Brewer Investment and Expanding Workforce Act, short, the Small Brew Act. That bill had the support of 175 congressional representatives, or co-sponsors as they're called, but one name was noticeably missing, that of our Congresswoman, Ms. Lowey, the good friend to small business. Unfortunately, this bill did not move forward. It was sent to committee, and where it has sat since March of 2011, and where it will die at the end of this session of Congress. Small breweries like Captain Lawrence will not realize the benefit that this bill could have provided to them. Ms. Lowey did not support the bill. Best friend? I don't think so. And just an interesting sidebar, this flyer came yesterday. And there's a quote here from a gentleman. His name is Scott Vaccaro. And it says, thanks to Congresswoman Lowey's efforts to increase access to capital to small businesses, my microbrewery accessed bank loans at a lower rate, which helped us expand and hire more employees. Just so happens that Scott is the owner of Captain Lawrence. You think he knew about this bill that Ms. Lowey let go before he made that quote? I don't think he was given true information. And again, we talk about truth in politics. Ms. Lowey's press conference and mailers say all the right things. But unfortunately, as you can clearly see, nothing contained in them is true. Ms. Lowey, as a senior member of Congress, has done absolutely nothing to help small business, other than to tell them cunningly that she has. Further evidence of Ms. Lowey's less than accurate presentation of the facts can be witnessed in another press conference that she conducted in Rockland County on August 30th of this year. The press release for that event described it as that a woman-owned small business, Gillibrand and Lowey, called for small business tax breaks and touting a bill, Senate Bill 3442, called the Success Act of 2012. Ms. Lowey stated, like all entrepreneurs, women who own small businesses need access to affordable capital and long-term tax policies that encourage growth and hiring and reduce economic uncertainty. I am proud to stand by Senator Gillibrand in support of creating the conditions necessary for women-owned small businesses to thrive. I don't think, again, anyone would disagree with the comments. Well, the fact is, we know, though, that Ms. Lowey had already voted against H.R. 9, the Small Business Tax Cut Act. Tax cuts is what she's talking about. How disingenuous was it for her to make those statements to these business owners who count on her to deliver for them months after she had already voted no on the bill? Senator Gillibrand was a co-sponsor on this Senate Bill 3442. There were a number of companion bills that were presented in the House that were related to 3442. Specifically, House Resolution 744 and 1304. Those bills, Ms. Lowey did not co-sponsor or support either one of them. Okay, neither of them. Both were referred to committee and have languished there for over 18 months. They are going nowhere, and they again will die in committee at the end of this session. Regarding the bill that Senator Gillibrand co-sponsored here, it too was sent to committee a month before this press conference was held. There were only 8 co-sponsors on that bill. Coincidentally, 5 of them were male senators. There were more males than females who supported it. I'm just stating the facts. When this press conference was held, touting what this bill would do, these 2 principals, Ms. Lowey and Senator Gillibrand, both knew the situation, but they forgot to mention that the bill was already exiled to committee and the likelihood of passage was slim. Yet those in attendance thought that these 2 congressional representatives were bringing great news and that they are 100% behind these small business owners, these women-owned businesses who need help, but they're not getting it here. And unfortunately, once again, the facts belie the claims. These are facts. This is not idle chatter. These are solid, documented facts. When is the public going to say enough and hold our elected officials accountable? When are they going to demand the truth? We deserve the truth. We do not deserve stories, fabrications. We deserve the truth. That's what we have our people in Congress to tell us the truth and to act on our benefit. When are they going? Well, I think the residents of our 17th district here are entitled to an explanation from Ms. Lowey as to why she has not been honest in her presentations. Does she think that the public is simply gullible and we're going to buy this forever and ever? Or is she just so comfortable in saying one thing and doing another that it's become second nature to her? Well, to appear at a press conference and raise the hopes of suffering business owners by misleading them with false promises that these bills will provide help for them is really disgraceful. It's sickening, considering that they know that these bills will die in committee, and they haven't supported them even when they went through the House. Congresswoman Lowey owes her constituents an explanation, and it needs to be followed up on. I call on the press, on the media, to ask Ms. Lowey why, in fact, she has done this. We didn't cite one example. We cited 5. Not 1, 5. And there were more. I have a book this thick with bills. If you want to go through it sometime, I'd be happy to do it. But these are facts, okay? Congresswoman Lowey, as I said, owes the constituents an explanation. And as we've described above, this was not one misstatement. It's become a common pattern of conduct and an example of long-term politicians doing or saying anything necessary to get re-elected, whether it's true or not. Truth doesn't make much difference anymore, but it needs to. We need to put truth back in politics. The only way we do that is take out the liars. So it's a very simple process. Ms. Lowey would like to, if Ms. Lowey would like to dispute any of the facts that I've taken from the congressional record and that I've presented here today, I would challenge her to debate me on their accuracy. If she does not accept that challenge, then I guess it would be a simple admission that she has been disingenuous to her constituents. And if that is the case, I think that she should just step down and drop out of this race out of respect for the residents of this district. They deserve better. The residents of our district deserve an honest, credible representative. From the facts I presented this morning, we currently do not have one. One last point that I'd like to make before taking questions, and that is that we the people, can no longer take elected officials at their word. They abuse our respect for them, as you can see in the examples that were cited here today. We now have the technology and the resources to verify everything that a politician says. We need to use it. And we have an obligation to call elected officials on issues when we find that they are not being totally honest with us. We cannot sit back any longer and just take their word as gospel. Proof being the details here today. Many are misusing their power, and we enable them when we don't do our homework and we don't contest them. As far as Congress, every bill that is presented is available to be read online. All votes taken in the House or Senate are also available to be viewed. We need to do the research and to hold representatives accountable, and that's at any level. We the people need to say enough, and we need to demand the truth from all of our elected officials. Thank you very much.